I sort of feel like that with Christian Pulisic as well, because he was at Dortmund, right? We get it. It's a big club. And he then goes to Chelsea. Unfortunately, he didn't get the rub of the green, went through some different coaches. But he sort of reminds me of Mo Salah and Kevin De Bruyne in that he now went off. He's matured and he's older, and he's now gone and carried a league. So he's put AC Milan on his back. He's been the best player in that league. So now I think from the sort of physical football maturity side, he now comes back to the Premier League and gets slotted into a Man United, Liverpool, Arsenal. I think there's actually another level for him.
Unfiltered Soccer with Landon and Tim, presented by Volkswagen. Volkswagen has long been a supporter of soccer in America and has proudly been a partner of U.S. soccer for over 5 years.
Welcome into Unfiltered Soccer with Landon and Tim, presented by Volkswagen. LD, what's happening, bro?
What's up, bud?
I went to Palm Springs for the first time this weekend.
Okay.
Which, I don't know, it's a bit random. But I was at the Coachella Valley Invitational with the Houston Dash. So,
right.
Did some meetings, saw some games. I was with the team a bit. Yeah, cool place. You've been, obviously.
What'd you think? Yeah, I've been there a lot. I think it's a weird place.
I definitely get the old world vibes and how people like that.
Yeah.
But the other part of it was like, given that you and I played in this league, in MLS, not NWSL, but for a long time, I'm shocked that they weren't able to come up with it. Like, this tournament's great. I don't know if you've been out there, but like half the MLS teams, half the NWSL teams are there. Yep. There's fans, there's stands. It's like a real tournament. And I'm thinking, like, why is it taking forever to get to this point? It's a good.
So everybody forever was trying to do like some version of what MLB does, right?
Yeah.
So remember, it was in Bradenton. Like, there some teams would go, and some teams would go to Spain, and then I think Santa Barbara was trying.
Yeah.
And it was in Tucson for a bit. I went one time to Tucson. I'm like,
I was in Tucson. Yeah.
Oh my God, we can never go back.
But why is it so hard to, like? I mean, this is great. It's perfect.
There's logistics. You need all the fields. You need the teams. You need whatever fans to go. Whatever. It's cool though.
Yeah, it's cool. And we're recording this just so everybody knows we work hard. That's not to plug ourselves, but we work hard. It's President's Day, so there's no days off with this show.
There's no days, just like when we were playing.
Just when you're playing, off. You get so. At the risk of all the comments flooding in and getting canceled, who's your favorite ever U.S. president? Do you have one?
President?
Yeah. I mean, it's President's Day.
I've only been alive for a short time.
Well, you don't have to. That's not in your lifetime. You've read about him. You've learned about him.
Maybe Abraham Lincoln.
It's a good one. Mm-hmm. It's a good one.
Why do you ask? Is it because all the president stuff out there?
No, it's President's Day.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm not the brightest guy.
No, it's fine, but that's okay. So you're going Abe Lincoln. I'm with JFK.
Honest guy. Abe.
I've got a tattoo of JFK smoking a heater. So I'm going JFK. Or him or Teddy.
A heater you're into.
Him or Teddy, one or the other. Okay. All right, yeah. Let's rock and roll.
All right, happy President's Day to all. Hope you're enjoying a relaxing day while Timmy and I are grinding over here. As always, follow us on social media at Unfiltered Soccer, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, anywhere you get your podcasts. Leave a review. And as always, you can email Jordan at feedback@unfilteredsoccer.com. All right, Tim, let's start with an MLS season preview. The season starts this weekend.
Quick, man. Quick.
God, it goes fast, man.
I know.
Times have changed. Remember, it was just months and months and months. So
I remember.
This weekend, Saturday, FC Cincy versus Atlanta. It'd be interesting to see how both of those teams come out. Atlanta, obviously, terrible season. So how do they rebound? The headliner is for sure LAFC enter Miami Saturday night, and then Sunday is LA Galaxy NYCFC. So we'll see how my former club does after having a really bad year. Let's get people caught up real quick on the most important things that happen in the offseason. So let's start with my Galaxy. It was a really bizarre offseason, right? Because Ricky Puig was supposed to come back. Everyone was excited. He's going to be back in 2026. And then we get news that had another surgery, and he's going to be out again this year. So the Galaxy made some acquisitions, partially because of that, but partially otherwise. They brought in João Klaus from St. Louis, striker. Eric Tommy, a free agent who was at Kansas City. Mateus Nascimento on loan from Botafogo. Jacob Glesnes, center back from Philly, and then Justin Hack from NYC. So they'll be different. If you're Greg Vanney, how are you approaching all of this, right? Because we talked about how influential Ricky Puig was.
Well, I think it's a huge. You and I have talked about this a lot. I think it's a huge sort of moment, not just for the Galaxy, but for Greg Vanney, a coach who I like and respect and think he's incredible.
Yeah.
The issue for Greg Vanney, which I think he will figure out, is he built this team to play a certain way. And by the way, the way they play was fantastic, right?
Mm-hmm.
They lose Jovic to
Casey.
Kansas City,
Yep.
right? Ricky Puig goes down with an injury. And in fairness, he still tries to play his system because his system works, right? They had a terrible season. And now they sort of have to, like, we've mentioned it on the show, you sort of have to go like, we love Ricky. We wish him the best. We're going to try and get him back to his best. But the show is going to go on without him. Mm-hmm. And if he comes back to the show and can dance, heck yeah, amazing. But you cannot, if you're the LA Galaxy, sort of put a team together that go, okay, when Ricky gets back, then we're going to go again. Mm-hmm. This team has got to go right from the off, hit the ground running, no matter what, no matter whether Ricky Puig is fit or not. So I like the acquisitions. I think they'll compete, and I also believe in Greg Vanney as a very good coach to say, okay, I'm gonna revamp this team. Whether that's, and again, he has shown the ability to tactically be flexible, which I think is massively important for a manager on every level. Talk about every week in the Premier League as well. So just to be able to have a sort of a plan B or a plan A minus, if you will, just to be able to tweak things, and I think he'll do that.
It's probably going to be his most challenging coaching job because you get so used to playing in a certain way and you're good at that. And so how do you adjust and change? And some managers change every week, right? Like, you know this, you come in every week and it's a whole new game plan based on your opponent. And so, but with Vanney, it's more about their identity. But you also can't, you're in LA. And you have good players. You can't just say, okay, let's just be a defensive team and pack it in. And like, that's not going to work either. So I'm really fascinated to see not just how they finish, but how they play is going to be fascinating. All right. Our guy, Michael Bradley, congrats again to you, Michael, entering the MLS coaching ranks with Red Bull. It seems we were talking about this with everyone and with Andrew. He is the most accomplished player now to become an MLS head coach, right? Certainly national team player.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know
what? Go ahead.
I need Michael to do well. I don't have it in me to cane him if they don't do well because
I don't think I do either.
I love Michael Bradley. Honest, I love him as a friend. I will try my best to be level. I love Michael Bradley. I'm gonna blame if they don't do well. I'm gonna blame everybody else but him. But no, he'll do fine. He'll do great. I think he will. I think the way the Red Bull system operates, they identify coaches and talent really well and sort of blend those together. So, but again, it's hard and he's going to have challenges, but if there's anybody equipped for that, it's Michael. I also think to the question, we were batting this around in production, weren't we? Like, is he the most accomplished U.S. men's national team player to be a head coach?
Has to be.
Has to be. Stevie Trendolo is in that conversation.
Berhalter.
Berhalter, Vanney, these are, Robin Fraser. These are guys, but then when you look at Michael and the caps and being the captain and all, he has to be. Yeah. I think he has to be, which is exciting.
Yeah, I love Michael and I really want him to do well. And I will say this, I know you're in New York and so you're more around it. In LA, Red Bull are not a team that people pay attention to. They're just not, because they don't spend like crazy. They're very much system oriented and they're not bringing in superstars and all that. So, but I will now pay attention like very closely and I'll be curious to see how they play. Yeah. How does Michael put his own spin on sort of the Red Bull way of playing? And that's going to be really fun to watch.
You know why I have a lot of confidence in Michael? And we obviously know him intimately. He rightfully so, in my opinion, but there will be a lot of people who disagree with me. He jumped the line, right? Yeah. He jumped the line. But I would argue, well, he's had the schooling. He retired and immediately, which is the right thing to do if you want to be a coach, retired and immediately went over and became assistant to Bob. And so he got his coaching badges. He's a leader, right? And you get that opportunity. The difference is, and the reason I think Michael is equipped is because people will perceive him as having jumped the line. There's going to be so much hate coming towards him. And as much as I wish him well and you wish him well, people are going to pray for his downfall. But here's the difference. They've been doing that to Michael Bradley since he broke on the scene. He's not good enough. We don't like him. And guess what? All he's ever done was defy the odds. So I just think mentally he's so sharp and so prepared for all the crap that's going to come his way that the football side is going to be the fun part. So,
and Tim, he has the real life experience. Forget about the badges and what I like. Yeah. That is important and that helps you learn and all that. But he grew up with a dad who was a coach, right? So the analogy I would say is I learned more by going to the South Korea, North Korea demilitarized zone and standing there and watching and talking to people than I would have learned in any textbook that I read all year for a class, right? Like he's had the real stuff. And so I'm excited for him, rooting for him, and it's going to be fun to watch.
Totally.
All right, let's move on to everyone's favorite team to love or hate, Inter Miami. Man, they had a crazy offseason. So obviously Jordi Alba and Busquets go. They bring in Bertarame, the kid who was with Brandon Vasquez at Monterrey. He's had kind of a weird career, but he is a really good player. Reguilon came in, defender. Facundo Mora came in. Dane St. Clair, reigning goalkeeper of the year. Mikhail on loan from Palmeiras, and then David Ayala from Portland Timbers. So they have a lot of reinforcements. Is there any way they're better than they were last year based on that? I mean, you lose Busquets and Alba, like there's so much leadership there.
Yeah, I mean, I think Reguilon is not Jordi Alba. Just let me go on record and say that he's not. He's a good player, but I just sort of think until proven otherwise, every really good player or pretty good player is going to play out of their skin and be so scared to death to let Lionel Messi down, which is the effect that he has, that it's hard to sort of bet against them. I do think they're good signings. I think arguably you could say, with the players that left and the players that came in, they're probably a better team. I'm not exactly sure how to quantify that, but they're probably a better team. But the team in the past 2 years won. So, I don't know. I think that a lot is going to depend, as we've talked about, with Messi makes this team go. Like if you just extract Messi out of the team,
right?
I think they're a good team. Right. And so this because we've talked about it. The World Cup hangover. Does he kick his last ball for Argentina in July? Right, and is that a super high because they win? Or is that they bow out in the quarterfinals, and is it a super low? Like, how does he deal with that going forward? Does that rock him for the next 2 months? I don't know.
A good point.
I don't know. Because and look, the argument is well, he's probably got knocked out of games before in tournaments, but it was never his last kick of the ball for Argentina. There was always another, right? And so, I mean, obviously there'll be a send off game or something, right, to celebrate who he is. But I'm saying, but the end. So I don't know how emotionally that works. We'll see.
Well, what we do know is it's going to be entertaining because if they collapse and don't do well, everyone's going to love it, and if they keep playing at the level they've have, it's fun to watch. So. Yeah. All right, we're going to appease Andrew here with Philadelphia Union.
Oh goodness!
The Supporters Shield winners are going to look much different. It seems like they do this every year.
Yep.
They lose Ura, they lose Glesnes to the Galaxy, Ty Baribo leaves, Kai Wagner leaves, but then they always just seem to refresh. And so it's going to be really interesting to see how they do. And I'm not giving Andrew any more time than that. Can I sort of throw something at you? Yeah.
Was it me or you that bet against Philadelphia last year? It was you, wasn't it?
Me.
Yeah, it's okay. I wasn't trying to throw you under the Supporter Shield bus, but they do seem to do this, right? And sometimes when it comes to the Premier League and some of the discussions that I have in the Premier League, which I think we'll get to in this episode, I sort of give a couple of teams, even though I have a hard line on certain opinions, I give a couple of teams a pass, right? Like when it comes to like recruiting, I think when you hire and fire managers, it's idiotic. Like it's a bad business plan, right? But then when I look at sort of how Brighton operates, right? And we talked about Brighton and the pattern in which they have their next 3 or 4 managers lined up, and they're happy to sell Caicedo and McAllister and all these players for hundreds of millions of pounds because they have a scouting network and they bring these players. Yeah. So is Philadelphia sort of the Brighton of MLS without overstating it? Like
because of their academy. So they just keep, Kevin Sullivan now will play a lot more minutes. They're just, they keep producing.
And they believe in it.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah,
and they do it. Yeah. So last little piece, and I think this will change when the schedule change comes. There was very few like big offseason signings, and I think players don't move in general in January, and this is why MLS is changing to the schedule. But really, only Timo Werner to San Jose, and then the James Rodriguez news to Minnesota. Not much else, and so it'll be interesting to see. I think in the summer after the World Cup how that all changes. But for now, it's pretty quiet on that front.
Yeah, I'm just these two names just in sort of a phone booth really interest me. Like
totally.
Because I'm going to say something really disrespectful and I don't know how else to say it, but Timo Werner couldn't hit a cow's ass with a banjo. I watched him for 2 seasons at Tottenham literally go through one-on-one with the goalkeeper. And the ball ends up like
watch.
It's hard to like it's hard to watch. Do you ever get to see a baseball player get the yips? Yeah. And it's hard to watch. And I'm thinking like, I don't even know if it almost to the point became comical. And I'm like, that's not okay. When it becomes comical, you're like, this is sort of infringing on like someone's personal life kind of thing. Totally. And so, even though I just said a very disrespectful statement, so does that get better in the MLS? I don't know.
I'm betting no if I had to bet.
Okay, I don't know. And then James Rodriguez, from a couple of people I talked to who are sort of at and around Everton, they're now other places. They said to me, "Look, Tim, if Messi's not on the field, James Rodriguez will be the best player on every field he touches."
Sure.
And
if he
I like the fact that I think it's a 6-month loan. Is that right, LD?
I think so. Yeah.
I mean, that's the best business Minnesota could have ever done. Because he'll be super motivated. He'll want to play. He'll want to be fit, right? And so
it could be a win-win for both.
Yeah.
Just curious, do you guys think the James and Timo signings in general, they're going to be a hit or miss? Let us know. All right, Tim, let's go quickly through this. So we're calling this onside, offside. Yeah. You either agree with this onside or you disagree with this offside. Okay. And just give me your one-word answer. If we need to elaborate, we will.
Okay.
Inter Miami will be more focused on winning this year's CONCACAF Champions Cup than the MLS Cup. Onside, offside.
Onside, here's why. Okay. Quickly. Mm-hmm. They won the MLS Cup last year. 2 seasons ago, Supporter Shield. Right?
Yeah.
They said they prioritized that, right?
Yep.
You and I talked ad nauseum and basically said they don't care about anything last season, right? You and I said they do not care about anything.
That's right.
But the MLS Cup. And if that means Messi has to rest and they have to just barely make the playoffs, don't matter. They're going to get to the playoffs. They're going to be full strength and bosh, they're going to win. Yep. So if Jorge Mas is telling us publicly that their priority is the CONCACAF Champions Cup, then I'm saying to you, he's trying to do the trifecta and win that. I would imagine there might be some sort of semblance of resting players, prioritizing that tournament. You know, not taking the piss out of the league, but basically saying like, we got a league game and yet we got a CONCACAF Champions Cup game on the back end of that. We're going to rest players.
Yep.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter what we think or say. Like, if the owner says it, then that's where the priority is going. It's just
you agree.
Agreed.
Yeah.
All right. Sonny will win this year's Golden Boot. Onside, offside.
Onside.
Really?
Yeah. Well, you don't have
with the World Cup break.
Yeah. Well, maybe my faith is lower in the other players in the chasing pack.
Okay.
But no, why are you laughing at me? I'm saying, like,
I don't know.
Like, okay, so basically, funny. if I think Sonny's going to be amongst the goals, right, then it's basically saying he goes away, and then the players in and around him take advantage of that for however many weeks.
Yeah, I don't know how many games it is actually.
I know. So
I think his teammate Bouanga could do it because it's going to be someone who stays behind.
Yeah.
Plays a few extra games.
Yeah.
Against some weakened competition a little bit. That's what generally would happen in the past in MLS. So like when we would leave, we're like, oh shoot, there goes my chance at this or that because you're gone 4 or 5 or 6 games. I think MLS takes a break though, don't they?
Yeah. They do. That's what I'm saying. That they don't play straight through. Imagine if Timo Werner wins the Golden Boot. I'm going on record now and saying if he wins a Golden Boot, I might leave the show. I might leave the show. I might. Right. I think the public would have every right to just say, "Off your pop, Tim. Like you're gone."
That would make Jordan happy. Okay, let's move on. San Diego FC will run into a sophomore slump. I actually say offside. Disagree, and I think they're going to be better. I don't know if they'll get better results, but I think Chucky Lozano not being there, and if they can move him, and bring in somebody good in that spot, I think they'll be better.
So you are agreeing with this? You're onside.
No, it says they will run into a sophomore slump, and I'm saying no, they will not. So
I'm with you. I'm offside. I disagree. I think they're going to be better, or
I think so
just
too.
as good.
Okay, Atlanta United will be MLS's most improved team. They can't be much worse.
Can't be much worse.
The other options are like the Galaxy,
Mm-hmm.
Houston,
Mm-hmm.
right? Which who are some of the other bottom feeders? Colorado.
I think those 4 teams could be the most improved.
Toronto.
Yeah,
Toronto's a good shout too.
Toronto's a good shout. Can I say they will be the most improved team? I disagree. Offside. Here's why. I just don't. Having known that club through Carlos Bocanegra, a friend of ours, dear friend of mine, intimately, I don't. I'm you know me. I'm not a big fan of coming home again, right? So when Almiron comes back, and Tata when Tata's there, it's like, oh, he brought everything to this club.
Right.
That was before. That was years ago.
Yeah.
And I'm just not sure that I buy into the idea of like failed coach after failed coach. Now I got an idea. Let's bring back Tata.
Let's go back to what worked. Yeah.
So that's it. I mean, not to say that he's not a good coach and Almiron isn't a top player. That is very true. They are. But yeah. So offside. You?
I think it's got to be the Galaxy.
Yeah.
I think it has to be the Galaxy. I think they just can't be worse. I mean, it's always the line is always based on where you're starting from, right? I actually think Toronto's a dark horse. I think Toronto used to be, like in the early days, they were a massive club in MLS, and they've just fallen off. They really have to where it's like they're not interesting to me. They're not, and so. But now, Robin Fraser had a year under him. They're probably getting back to the point where they're saying, like, we need to be a big club. This is a World Cup year. It's coming to our market. We cannot let this fall apart. So they could be a sneaky one too.
How about this? Now that you're talking through it, I mean, if they get Josh Sargent, right? If that goes through, and he's
that's a good point.
He's a 20-goal goal scorer. He scores goals, by the way.
Yeah, he would be good in MLS.
If he scores in the championship, I mean, every year he's I think from what's coming out of Colorado, there seems to be a really good vibe. I think they beat Orlando 4-1. I'm actually headed up to their game. I've got something else going on in Seattle, so I'll be at the Seattle Colorado game. I will say, you talked about your Galaxy. Pat Onstad has put together a sneaky good roster in Houston. So what that looks like, it'll be under the radar for sure. But it's definitely one that, internally we're excited about. So hopefully results follow.
I just want these, like the Galaxy are always going to be interesting to me. And I think to most people, because it's a love-hate thing. Same with Inter Miami. I want Toronto's. I want Houston again, because they were such a good run. I want them to be interesting and exciting again.
Yeah. Yeah.
No offense to Colorado, but they're, small market, sort of under the radar, whatever. But I just want these teams to be interesting. Yeah. So that they're fun to watch.
They were interesting when I was there. No?
Yeah.
Well, I think we beat your Galaxy.
Allowed a lot of goals. It's Stoppage Time, sponsored by FanDuel. New customers can bet $5 and get $100 in bonus bets if you win. Download the FanDuel Sportsbook app to get started. All right, MLS is back, and oh, what a way to be back. LAFC hosting Inter Miami. Tasty, tasty matchup. LAFC with a new coach, Inter Miami with some new players, but still a great matchup here in LA. It's going to be a lot of fun. I think in the end, the honors are split. I think these teams are both good, but I think a draw sounds right. Of course, Lionel Messi gets on the score sheet. Denny Bouanga also getting on the score sheet. Sonny, of course, came in at the end of last year, and the South Korean was electric, but I think Denny Bouanga still underrated, as crazy as that is to say. And I think lots of goals in this game. Should be a lot of fun. So Unfiltered Soccer's same game parlay this week. A draw in the game. Over 2.5 goals for sure. Denny Bouanga to score or have an assist. And Lionel Messi to score or have an assist. Don't forget to check out the full list of Unfiltered Soccer's same game parlays on our socials later this week. All right, guys, let's take a break. When we come back, let's talk Tyler Adams, Christian Pulisic, and much, much more right here on Unfiltered Soccer with Landon and Tim, presented by Volkswagen. The Unfiltered Soccer podcast is brought to you by Volkswagen. It's really easy to become a passenger in life.
Take control. Live life in the driver's seat. Learn more at VW.com.
Life. If we're not living it, what are we doing here? So,
let's go!
Soccer's not slowing down. Big fixtures, derby days, cup clashes, and international action are keeping the calendar full. Club or country, the schedule is stacked, and you can get in on every match with FanDuel. Right now, new customers can bet $5 and get $100 in bonus bets if you win. That's right, just place a $5 bet, and if you win, you'll unlock $100 in bonus bets to use on goal scorer markets, match result, over-unders, same-game parlays, and so much more. As the matches stack up, there's no better time to make your move. Just download the FanDuel Sportsbook app to get started.
All right, LD, USMNT on USLNT. Here we go. Let's rock and roll. Some good news, though, on the injury front. Tyler Adams returns to Bournemouth training. That's brilliant. You know what that's good for? Bournemouth and U.S. men's national team.
And Tyler.
And
Mr. Pochettino. Yeah, hopefully the real hope is that he plays at least a couple games and gets into that March camp, right? When it was MCL, right? Yeah. MCLs are hard to come back from because it's a confidence thing. Because every time you pass a ball, you open up your leg and you feel it. So it takes time to really get comfortable and confident. But I think Tyler's going to be fine. And I I'm going to that March camp. I don't know if you are, but I really want to see this full group. Pochettino has said the World Cup starts for me in this March camp.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And so I know we say it every time, but I expect to see the real team that he's basically going to pick for the World Cup.
Yeah. And just another note, because you made a good point about sort of opening up your knee and that passing. And we both obviously been on teams when players are coming back, sort of like return to protocol for knee. It's not the running. Like the running feels good and the pounding. It's also the block tackling. Right? It's the block tackling where slide tackling is easy, right? It's the ones where you go into the challenge and you're both arriving at the ball.
Well, that's how he got hurt, right?
That's how he got hurt.
So he's going to need to feel that.
You need to feel it and feel strong with it. So once I see that, I'll be delighted.
Yeah, that's really good news. Let's talk about Christian Pulisic. By the way, I was watching the hockey game yesterday. I think it was US Germany.
Oh yeah.
And they showed him in the stands. And is it Kenny Albert, the announcer?
Maybe so.
He's so good. He's a hockey announcer. But he was like, and there he clearly had no idea who he was. He's like, there is a Christian Pulisic sitting in there. And I was like, oh, this guy's not. They just told him what to read, you know? But it was great to see him, just see his face there. And now there are rumblings, and I want to get your thought on this. His contract runs with Milan through the summer of next year, 2027. According to reports, there's, signing him as a priority for the club. It should be, unless you're an idiot. Mm-hmm. But he has not been presented with a formal offer yet, which I think is crazy. You're a year and a few months out, and he's going into a World Cup. Like, you better tie this guy up. Mm-hmm. There's been some rumblings of him going to the Premier League, and I'm just curious what you think of that. I know, I have thoughts on it, but I'm just curious your thoughts on it.
Where is he rumored
There's
to
been
go?
rumors about Liverpool,
United
are interested. Arsenal are, quote, monitoring him.
Yeah. So here's what I think. When I look at, and I'm going to put him in a very sort of high class here, okay? Kevin De Bruyne and Mo Salah. We know the finished product. So when I say those names, people are going to go, huh? Those are two of the best players in Premier League history, right? I remember Kevin De Bruyne at Chelsea. I remember Mo Salah at Chelsea, right? Weren't good enough, apparently. So they went abroad. I think Mo Salah went to Roma and Kevin De Bruyne went to Werder Bremen. I can't remember. It's off the top of my head.
Wolfsburg, Bremen.
Yeah.
One of those, yeah.
And they sort of were the player that they were. They gained confidence. They did all the things. They came back to the Premier League, and then it was game over. History was written. I sort of feel like that with Christian Pulisic as well, because he was at Dortmund, right? We get it. It's a big club. He was still young, though. And he then goes to Chelsea. I backed him to the hills at Chelsea. Unfortunately, he didn't get the rub of the green. Went through some different coaches, and then he went off. But he sort of reminds me of Mo Salah and Kevin De Bruyne in that he now went off. He's matured and he's older, and he's now gone and carried a league. He's carried one of the best teams in the league, right? So he's put AC Milan on his back. He's been the best player in that league. So now I think from the sort of physical football maturity side, he now comes back to the Premier League and gets slotted into a Man United, Liverpool, Arsenal. I think there's actually another level for him. So I personally
would it be better for him to go to like I'm saying quote unquote mid-table, but that has aspiration, like a Villa or a team that can get into Champions League? Would it be better so that he's playing all the time? Because when you go to these big clubs, man, like there's 2 or 3 guys at your position that are world-class players.
Depends who you are, Landon. I mean, if it's like I said about the World Cup and the motivation. If his eyes are on the prize of saying, Landon Donovan, Clint Dempsey, I want to figure out a way to put them in my wake. I want to be said in the same breath as those guys. And if that's his mentality, I don't know if it is, then he's going to look at this World Cup differently, right? If he's saying, I kind of want to be, I kind of want to play every week and be the guy, and hey, he can go to a number 6 through 8 team in the Premier League. But if he's really saying like, no, I've been to the Premier League, I've tasted what it's like at the top at a big club like Chelsea, I want more of that. I got something to prove here. I don't know. I don't know the mentality, but I think he does. I personally would like to see him on these teams. But you also sort of look at, I hear what you're saying, but if I look at Liverpool and if I look at Arsenal, jury's out on Man United. These are well-grooved teams. They really are. Mm-hmm. They're well-run. They're well-grooved. They're playing well. So if they're buying him and they're paying a decent fee for him, right, they have a plan for him.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? It's not part of like this experiment. Maybe United a little bit, but like it's still Man United, and I don't think you can turn that down personally.
Well, you know me, that how many times do I say or text, the grass isn't always greener, right? Mm-hmm. And I do believe that strongly. This is a scenario where I think if he is motivated and wants to go prove it, he is capable of it. Like going to one of these big clubs in England and he is capable of doing it. The one hesitation I have actually, and this is just speaking from personal experience, the physical part of it is a real thing, man. Mm-hmm. And Christian's he's a phenomenal athlete. He is. Mm-hmm. But some of the athletes in the Premier League are monsters. Mm-hmm. I mean monsters. And to do it 35, 40, 45 times a year at that pace is really hard. And we see him break down a little from time. I mean, he's just coming back from a bursitis, whatever. Sure. I don't know physically if he could do it every single week for 2 or 3 years, like some of these guys, because it's really hard, man.
What it takes. Yeah, it's what it takes. I give you that.
Really hard. Yeah.
But look, the thing is, I think he keeps himself really fit. Sometimes injuries are unlucky. Look, that happens. I get it. What I would say is credit to him and his team because he's in a really good position. Re-sign at AC Milan and become a club legend at arguably one of the biggest clubs in the world, or go to one of the top 3 biggest clubs in the Premier League. So good decision to have.
And by the way, we talk about this, and this summer, if he just does what we expect him to do, which is maybe score a few goals, lead the U.S., if he exceeds that, this guy's like, who would not want to sign a top American star just from a marketing branding, plus what he can do on the field? I mean, he's going to have all the leverage. So he does that. The world's his oyster.
Totally.
Okay, so some interesting news came out from CONCACAF. They revealed the World Cup qualifying process and what it's going to look like. I'm not going to get into all the nitty-gritty details. Mm-hmm. The reality is now 6 teams from this region will qualify, and the 7th team will go to an intercontinental playoff. So part of the, not fallout, but part of what happens with the expansion of the World Cup to 48 teams is now there are 6 CONCACAF teams. So if you think back in the hexagonal in our days, you could finish last and still qualify for the World Cup, right? So it's virtually impossible for the U.S. and Mexico not to qualify now. But the other virtual impossibility, sadly, is it doesn't look like the U.S. and Mexico will ever play again. in qualifying.
That's crazy.
The final round of qualifying will now be 3 groups with 4 teams each. And likely it'll be US, Mexico, and right now Canada that will be top of those groups, and then everyone else will fill in. And then the top 2 teams will go.
Yeah. So I'm so baffled by this. Like, how did US Soccer Federation and the Mexican Football Federation, like, maybe they had to agree to it, but like, both federations have been built off the back of that game historically. I mean, it's crazy. I guess the friendlies.
Well, I'll tell you why, Tim. Because in 2018, the U.S. didn't qualify for the World Cup, and I remember talking to Rich, my agent, and I was like, "What do you think the financial fallout is?" And he was like, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars by the U.S. not being in the World Cup. So yes, they want that game, but more importantly, they want them both in the World Cup.
Okay,
so that's a simple answer.
That's true. So explain this to me then. CONCACAF, you said, gets 6 teams and then a 7th goes to a playoff.
Correct.
Okay, I'm on record as saying CONCACAF should never get 7 teams to the World Cup. No, I'm not saying that's. I'm not.
What
saying
if there's 100 teams in the World Cup?
Okay,
still no.
You know how I feel about this. I love CONCACAF because that's our region.
You just don't care about the little countries.
I'm
a man of the people. So
I care about the
want
beautiful
every
game.
country.
I care about the beautiful game, not the game you're going to call in Houston. That's going to be 9-0.
Germany, Curacao.
I don't care about that game. That's not important to me. So, and it shouldn't be important to anybody else.
Okay, but let me play devil's advocate. Curacao, I don't know what you get for going to a World Cup as a federation. Tens of millions, $100 million, I don't know. Whatever it is. Don't you think that gives them an opportunity now going forward to like really that whether they spend it that way or not, or like what happens to that money, who knows? But doesn't that give them an opportunity to build infrastructure, like create youth systems and help them? I sound like I work for FIFA, huh?
Not at our, and I say our as in our global showcase soccer event. No, because what I would say to you is, if you want to boost small island football federations, there's a company in Switzerland that has a lot of money. They can give that money and help boost smaller countries. That's how
not
it should
to
work.
this level. They can give them a few $1 million, but what you get for qualifying for a World Cup changes. It's like when you talk about the FA Cup and like playing an away tie against United. That funds those little clubs for 6-10 years. Like this will fund Curacao soccer forever.
I guess.
Assuming the money goes to the right place.
So you're okay with, and I'm not being facetious, I promise. You're okay with Curacao making it, getting the windfall of the money, which we know is brilliant, and they get absolutely smoked for 3 games. I mean, on aggregate, it's like 20 goals against to like 2 scored. You're saying happy days. I'm saying absolutely effing not. That does not excite me at all. That's what I'm thinking.
I'm not saying that excites me. I'm trying to see the big picture.
You're a man of the people. You've taken over my title.
It's clearly the people respect what I'm all for the little person. We'll see. I mean, we'll see. But the reality is what we're talking about is U.S.-Mexico will probably not play in qualifying.
Crazy.
If for some reason the U.S. and Mexico now do not qualify for a World Cup, every player should be fired, have to retire, and the coaches should never coach again.
Bro, here's what
this is like a cakewalk now.
But the statement you just said will never happen. The U.S. They could send their under 23. You know how our under 23 team stinks? Like ever since the beginning, we've qualified for like 2 Olympics in the last 80 years, right? Yeah. They should say our under 23s don't get enough good games. They should just send the under 23 team for the U.S. and Mexico.
What's going to happen in the last game or two. The last game or two of that, like round robin, they're probably already going to be qualified, and you can just play.
Mate, they are going to. I mean, this is amazing. I mean, U.S. and Mexico will qualify forever.
Right, which is what everyone wants, right?
Absolutely.
FIFA wants, sorry.
Absolutely.
Yeah. All right. What do you guys think? Are you guys sad? Happy? I don't think anyone's
our
be
fans
happy
are definitely going to be sad. Our fans are
yeah, I mean, this
sad.
game, think about what this game did for just our careers and the experience. And so amazing. So amazing. All right. Let's move on to the Premier League. Really curious to hear your thoughts on all of this manager changing. So just a quick note for everybody. This is from The Athletic. Connor O'Neill from The Athletic says, after a pair of February firings this week, there have been 4 Premier League sackings already in 2026. We're in February. The most ever seen across the first 2 months of a calendar year. The eight managers have been sacked so far in 2025-26, and they lasted an average of 319 days, so not even a year. So Tottenham, Forest, Chelsea, and who's the fourth this year?
Man United.
Was that this year?
Yeah.
God, that feels crazy.
I think
so. Just give me your general thoughts on this, because I find it so fascinating. You lived it so much, and it just doesn't happen in MLS because there's no threat of relegation. There's no, you need to make the Champions League to get a lot of money. So there's just less at stake in that way.
I don't know. We talked ad nauseum about Man United, right? And Amorim and how they could have, should have spoken and had better communication and all the things. I think it's crazy, man. I genuinely think it's ludicrous. I think it's a horrific way to run a football club. I will give you the caveat when it's time. But like Tottenham's a big club, man. One of my best friends supports Tottenham. Some jabronis on this show behind the scenes are cheering. They support Tottenham as well, our producers. But it's sort of like Thomas Frank is a good manager, right? This is what I expect from the board and from ownership, okay? Because Daniel Levy, who used to be the chairman there, he'd sit up in the stands, straight-faced, and I know people love him or hate him. He took the stick, and he stood by people. And when it was time for someone to get sacked, he'd sack him. But you bring in Thomas Frank, right? Okay, results aren't great. And I get that.
Well, that's an understatement, by the way.
I know, I get it, LD. When results aren't great, you sort of are at the mercy of some things. But he's had arguably his best players out this season, right?
Also true. Yeah.
A lot of them.
Yeah.
And should the squad that he has be getting better results? Yes. My issue, LD, and I'll get to Forest in a second, is Thomas Frank's a good manager. Give him more time. I don't care that there's some guy in the stands with a scarf that says Thomas Frank out or board out. Like, he can go do one. Stand by your manager. Say, you know what? Thomas Frank is a good manager. Results haven't been good enough. But by the way, we spent a ton of money on this squad, and half of them haven't been fit. We're going to just be upfront and say we're going to analyze and dissect Thomas Frank and result. They're not going down, so we're going to analyze this.
Yeah.
Okay, when he has everybody fully fit, but we expect Tottenham to finish in the top half of the table. You give a mandate.
Don't you think that happened? Don't you think that conversation happened?
No, I don't.
Okay,
I don't. And by the way, they sacked their manager. All the good managers are going to be available in the summer. So so what have you done? Igor Tudor's going to come in and do what? He's going to do what? He's going to get you 3-4 places. I would argue Thomas Frank will help this team finish exactly where Igor Tudor helps them finish. And if you're like, you ain't good enough, sack him at the end of the season and then get one of the 5 World Cup managers that are going to be in vogue. What have you done? Why have you sacked him? Give him an opportunity to continue to earn his keep and get players back. I hate it. And
there's also a financial piece too. Like, you're spending a lot of money by Forest. Okay, go on to Forest, yeah.
But the Forest bit, and I put a ton of the blame on the Tottenham players. But I blame the Forest players, and here's why this is chaotic. So Marinakis, the owner at Forest, has had 4 managers this season. Okay? He's had Nuno, before Deitch, it was Ange Postecoglou, Deitch, and now Vitor Pereira. 4 managers. That means there's no plan. There's zero plan. So the team that I give the pass to always is Brighton, right? Because they scout their managers and they have their next 4 managers lined up. Okay? So if one of their managers is so freaking good that he gets bought by a bigger club, no problem, go. We'll bring the next manager through. If something isn't working right and we have to sack a manager, no problem, we'll bring the next manager through. There is no plan at Forest. And here's what owners don't understand. So Marinakis rules with an iron fist. The stories are rampant. Here's what Marinakis does not understand. And you get this. When you continually sack the manager for players underperforming, those underperforming players will continue to underperform. If you back your manager and go, we've spent 200, 300 million on this squad is better than teetering on relegation. All of you, sort yourself out. I ain't sacking the manager. I'm not getting you out of jail free. So guess what? Vitor Pereira comes in. Fill in the blank. They maybe get a new manager bounce. I've never managed a day in my life. Forest could get a new manager bounce from me if I went in, right? Once that dissipates, what do you think's going to happen with this team? Think they're going to play for their manager? Like Marinakis has just given and has continued to give this squad that he put together an out. Just gives him an out. And so the only time this has ever really worked on a massive level, okay, has been Roman Abramovich's Chelsea. He bought the best players in the world, LD. Shevchenko, Ballack, Drogba, John Terry, Obi Mikel,
Lampard.
He, Robben, Eden Hazard. He bought the best players in the world, LD, and said it's my team. And then when you get a tune out of them and you win the Champions League, and one of my players comes in and goes, sack this guy, I'll sack him off. And I'll bring somebody else in, and they'll win the Premier League. When you're done with him, he had the best collection of players in the world. Guess what Forest is not? The best collection of players in the world. Okay? So maybe you can make an argument for Todd Bowley's Chelsea. What I would say, because Todd Bowley basically said, I'm going to pick the players with the sporting directors under me, and then the managers are going to be disposable, right? My argument to that is he buying the best players in the world? Maybe. He's buying the best young players in the world, and he's creating a business like nobody else has. So that's sort of the caveat. When he hires and fires, I have a little bit more, I don't like it, but I'm a little bit more like, all right, this is a business. They're going to finish in the top 4. They're going to win, they win the Club World Cup and one of the Europa Cups. So I'm okay with that. I'm not okay with it at Tottenham. And I'm not trying to speak out of both sides of my mouth here, but I'm not okay with it at Forest. I mean, it's crazy to me. So Pereira comes in. Who's to say he's going to last a year? I don't know. No idea.
This is really interesting on the Forest piece. I didn't think about that. From the player's perspective, it's easy then to say, yeah, we weren't the problem. It was the manager. It was the manager. It was the manager, right? And so let me just say something about the Thomas Frank thing. So, and we've talked about that. We touched on this about the changing ecosystem of managers around the world. You have these clubs who want to bring in like a big figure, who takes care of everything. Yeah. But the clubs who are consistently performing and succeeding, that are not spending the same money, are the ones who have a plan.
Yes.
And they cycle through managers they don't fire them. It's like when the manager's time to move on, they let them move on because they have the next guy, the Brentfords, Brightons we've talked about. Yep. The other side of that is, you said Thomas Frank is a brilliant manager, and I agree. But I think Thomas Frank is a brilliant manager in that system, in the Brentford system. When you take a manager like that out of that, and now you bring them to a club where you don't have the infrastructure, I'm saying from a strategic standpoint, of course you have resources at Tottenham. Then what happens? And we saw this a bit, this is a bit what happened with Jesse Marsch too at Leeds, right? He goes through the Red Bull system, and everywhere he goes, he succeeds. Why? 1, because he's in that system, and 2, everywhere he was, they had the best players in the league. So you're going to succeed. And I'm not saying Jesse Marsch is a bad coach, but then you go to a club where that's not how it works, and then it's hard to be successful. And so I think this is going to happen more and more. I bet you we see more and more of this. These coaches are good, but they're good in that system. And then you take them out of that, and who are they without that infrastructure and that help?
Sure. And look,
because that's a totally different job.
I get it. And Graham Potter went through it when he went from Brighton to Chelsea.
Who was the other one? De Zerbi.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
how many of those guys have then been successful somewhere else?
And I'm not trying to give Thomas Frank an out. I'm not. I'm simply saying I do truly believe he was hamstrung a little bit because he had so many players. Like, he had his best players out. Literally. He had his best players. So we don't even know. So Thomas Frank went to a big club with big players, and he didn't manage them. So I don't even know if he can manage at that level.
This is my point, though. right? Like he was in a system that worked for him. You see it in the NFL, you know, like these guys are in a system and they go somewhere else and all of a sudden it's like they fall apart. And I don't think people put enough stock into that. I think people think, oh, he's a good manager. Well, let's see why he's a good manager there. Has he done it in another way at a top level? In this, I mean, I think it's a real thing. And I think we're going to see more and more of it because more teams, now Chelsea, we're hiring head coaches, not managers. Right? And so you need someone in the system who knows what they're doing. It's an interesting thing to pay attention to. All right, Timmy, it's time for the Unfiltered Refresh, sponsored by Coors Light. Choose chill, get Coors Light delivered. Go to CoorsLight.com/USLNT. Who chose chill this week? It is our man, Patrick Adjamong. Scored his 10th, yes, you heard that right, Tim, 10th goal, double digits of the season for Derby County and their win over Swansea. He's now tied, I didn't realize this, with a number of other guys for 6th in goals in the championship. Derby also now are 6th in the league. Mm-hmm. I didn't know how this was going to go, Tim, when he first went. I was sort of unsure, but we're starting to see a parallel between good MLS strikers and it translating into the championship. And we're also hopefully going to see the same inverse with Josh Sargent, hopefully going to Toronto. But Adjamong's been fantastic. I know we keep pushing for him to definitely be a part of this World Cup squad. And I think if you're Pochettino now, you're looking at him going, I got to have this guy in my squad.
Well, look, Patrick Adjamong, I was right. That's what I get from this segment. I was right. He was in the Gold Cup, and I remember people sort of feeling like the jury was out with him. And you remember, there was something about him that I just thought he gets. Yes, do I think he is the most clinical striker I've ever seen? No, and I mentioned that at the time. But he is someone who needs a couple of chances, but at the same time, he gets himself in dangerous positions. He harasses defenders. He bullies them. He makes them make mistakes, and he gets his goals. And so I'm just glad to see, as you said, the translation to the championship. 10-28. I'm looking at this now. I'm saying, Patrick, go. Head down. Get 15, right? And I think he can do it. Yep. You start getting there. And look, by the way, if the season ended today, he's had himself a really good first season. Okay? I'm being greedy here. Go get 15.
Yep.
Go get 15. Keep knocking that door down because the fact of the matter is, LD, I mean, look, he's at Derby County. That's great. But there's more. There's levels, and he can continue to go because you know this. If you score goals, people will take chances on you. They'll spend money on you. Like, this is who he wants to be.
And if they go up, he's the type of guy they would keep, right? Like, yes, you have to go get some top strikers, but they would keep him.
Yeah.
I don't think there's any question.
So do you think if you're saying Flo Balogun is the number one striker on national team, does this start to put Patrick's
he's close. I mean, depending on what Pepe does, 2? I think he's close to 2, and I think he's, with Haji Wright, probably number 3. But
I like our 4 strikers.
Me too.
Patrick, well
congrats to you. The best thing I can say is he always impacts the game. He really does. So
that's right.
Cheers to you, Patrick Adjamong, for choosing chill. Okay. That was fun. Let's take a break. When we come back, we will get into all your questions in the AT&T Fan Connection with JR right here on Unfiltered Soccer with Landon and Tim, as always, presented by Volkswagen. This episode is brought to you by Airbnb. All right, Tim, you and I are going to be doing a ton of travel this year, all over the place. And this is the first time really that we will, well, I can speak for myself, get to travel and really experience some of these cities. So, when we were youth national team players or youth players, you would travel and you didn't really know much about a city. And people tell you certain things about a city, but until you're there and you experience it in a real way, you don't really know what the city's about. So we're going to be all over the place. I'm going to be in Atlanta for the first time for an extended period of time with the U.S. games there, all over the U.S. this summer, Houston, L.A., Boston, New York, Miami, Philly. You want to experience these cities in a real way, and that's where Airbnb comes in.
Yeah, and as we know with these big events, local accommodations can be tough to find because they are the host cities.
Yeah.
If you happen to live there, hosting your home on Airbnb can help lots of fans. And here's the cool thing. You might even make some money to fund your own soccer experience.
Yeah, your home might be worth more than you think. Find out how much at airbnb.com/host.
LD, we got a big year coming up, man. Huge year. Obviously the run into the Premier League title, MLS starting back up. There's a big summer of soccer going on. You and I are going to say that we'd be busy, or we're going to be busy, is probably an understatement. It's going to be chaos.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to be here, there, and everywhere. I know you and I will find the time. I'm going to have to find lots of time to choose chill between crossing the country, being on all these different flights. You'll catch me in the airport, pulling up to the bar, having a Coors Light. And then, to be honest, in my off time, I'll be at the beach. Literally any single moment, LD, that I'm not doing something for the World Cup, which is not a lot of days, but I will be at the beach and I will have a cooler full of Coors Light.
Yeah, I mean, it's already started. As you know, I was in Vail this weekend, in the heart of the Rockies, by the way, doing an appearance. And we're going to be traveling a lot. We're going to be seeing each other a lot. We're going to be meeting a lot of fans and people. And we want to take advantage of it and enjoy it. But I keep reminding myself, I told my wife last night, like, we got to find ways to chill and choose chill so that I can stay energized, refreshed. It's going to be few and far between, but if we don't, we're going to have some problems. So thankfully we can choose chill, grab a Coors Light, relax, and make sure we're staying refreshed.
And when you embrace a chill mindset this year, it's a good time to choose chill and crack open a Coors Light. Choose chill from the start and reach for a Coors Light. Get Coors Light delivered straight to your door. Visit CoorsLight.com/UFS, or you can find it pretty much anywhere that sells beer.
Celebrate responsibly. Coors Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado.
There's nothing better than feeling like someone has your back and that things are going to get done even without you having to ask. Like your crisp new jersey waiting for you in the locker room, or a perfectly set up wall for a free kick.
Yeah, as we on Unfiltered Soccer get ready for next summer, we know that very little in the beautiful game is guaranteed. But as we prepare to bring our unfiltered brand of nonstop soccer coverage, it's good to know AT&T has your back with the AT&T Guarantee.
Staying connected matters. That's why in the rare event of a network outage, AT&T will proactively credit you for a full day of service. That's the AT&T Guarantee.
Learn more at att.com/guarantee. AT&T, connecting changes everything.
Credit for fiber downtime lasting 20 minutes or more, or a wireless downtime lasting 60 minutes or more caused by a single incident impacting 10 or more towers. Must be connected to impacted towers at onset of outage. Restrictions and exclusions apply. See att.com/guarantee for full details. It's time for the Fan Connection presented by AT&T. Every week we invite you, the listener, to connect with us by submitting your questions. At AT&T, connecting changes everything. And on USMNT, our connections with you will help grow the game. Time for the AT&T Fan Connection. JR, talk to us. How are you? Welcome in.
Wonderful. How are
Good.
you guys?
Happy birthday, JR.
Thank you.
Happy birthday. How old are you, JR? You want to tell the public? No, we're just keeping that a secret.
Never ask a lady how old she is.
I just did, and it's fine. It's amazing. Happy birthday. What was the best present you got? I know you get presents all the time.
I don't. This is a really hard question. I don't want to pass.
You don't all right. What was the flavor cake? Did you have cupcakes, cake?
I always get Carvel ice cream cake. With
I love that about you. That's so Northeast.
Yeah.
There's people on this podcast going,
can
Carvel
I
ice cream cake.
ask our listeners to send gifts to Jordan for her birthday? And then next week, you tell us which one was the best.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Amazing.
Love that.
Carvel ice cream cake. That's so good. Isn't it the whale?
Oh, Fudgy the Whale. No, we just get like a regular cake-shaped one.
Fudgy
I know the name.
Landon has no idea.
I was actually saying to Landon before, Tim, you joined before, he was asking me what I did this weekend, and I actually got a tattoo on Friday, and it's like an old school gramophone, and 1999 by Prince is coming out of the gramophone.
What?
But it's not playing a record, it's playing a Carvel ice cream cake, which is just incredible.
Please send me a picture. That's amazing. I was going to get a Friday the 13th tattoo and I just balked. I just got too busy.
We have to get some Unfiltered Soccer tattoos, I think.
I'm down.
We need. Yeah.
I'll get Landon's signature on my butt. Landon's signature on my butt. Just because that's what we did. It's party tats.
Party
so
tats.
Stupid.
I'll do it.
Landon's not tattooed enough for party tats
If
yet.
Timo Werner wins the Golden Boot,
You'll get
I'll get a Landon Donovan ass tap.
Somebody
Deal.
slapping
Deal.
a cow with a banjo is what Tim's getting.
There you go. Yeah, that'd be good.
Landon happens still there. It's amazing.
All right, let's start with a comment. This one's from Dan via email. He says, I absolutely love the podcast and would love to know if you guys will be doing a UK tour. What do you think?
Oh, we could.
Great shout, by the way.
Huh.
Dan,
I mean,
please
Like
write
an
us back and
actual
let us know
tour?
where in the UK you are so we can start there.
It's very important.
Yeah, that's a Jordan question. Would I
Yes.
do live podcasts in the UK? Yes.
I would
Of course I
too.
would. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, here's a question. This is a great question, and I hope that the two of you can answer this question. This one is from Jeff via email. Jeff says, heard it a few times on the show. What's the acronym USLNT stand for?
Oh,
it's
really?
easy. They don't know
didn't
that yet?
I don't know, but apparently Jeff doesn't.
All right, Jeff. Unfiltered Soccer with Landon in Tim, not in, and Tim. What people don't know is that the real name of the show is USLNT
no.
and JR.
Set myself up for this
And
one.
Jordan Rizzieri. So that's the real name. We're working on our rebranding right now. But that will be going forward at some
USLNT.
point.
Yeah. It's Unfiltered Soccer. Landon and Tim. Boom. Bosh.
I just
there
really
you
like
go.
the fact that the acronym sounds like USMNT, which is something
course.
that we talk about all the time.
Oh,
Absolutely.
is that why they did that?
You taking a piss?
That's so,
Are you?
yes, I am, of course.
Oh, I'm about to say, bro.
I just
don't know. You
figured
didn't
that
know it was
out.
President's Day. I mean, Jesus.
Landon's technically on vacation right now. So
When is he not on vacation?
I'm
He's
not
at home
on vacation. My kids have been home for a week. I'm not on vacation.
okay. Speaking of USMNT, let's talk about a national team question. This one is from Gerson via Twitter/X. Looks like person with a G at the beginning. So I'm
Gerson.
sorry if you're
Gerson.
saying your name wrong. The question is, what are your predictions for the upcoming friendly matches? My opinion is that elite teams like Portugal, Germany, and Senegal will reveal all the weaknesses of this U.S. men's national team. The ball don't lie, and Poch can run, but he will not be able to hide. Triple G was exposed by Colombia.
Sounds like a big fan of the national team. This guy.
Who is exposed? Triple G?
Triple G.
Greg
Oh.
Berhalter.
Um,
It is a good question. I think we're going to perform well in these games. He left out Belgium too. I think we're going to perform well. Part of it too is I don't know how much these teams put stock in these games. Like the Belgians, Germans. I don't know how much they're Portugal. I don't know. It's hard to know. Like they're probably thinking, I don't want to get hurt. I don't want to, and they don't have that same mentality right now that they're all a little on edge like our national team guys because they want to start. They want to impress Pochettino. So I don't know how much they'll put into it, but I think our guys will perform well. I don't know about results, but I think we'll perform well.
so hang on. So it's Portugal, Belgium, Germany,
Senegal,
and Germany. It's LD. I think you know this more than anybody because you've lived it. This is going to the opinion and the game within a game is going to be all over the place. Because here's what I think is going to happen. To your point, we don't know. Is Portugal going to show up with everybody? If Portugal shows up with everybody and they turn the
motivated.
screw,
Yeah.
then it's going to be a tough game. It's going to be a really tough game.
Yeah.
So do I think the U.S. can perform really well against a top team with their best players versus our best players? Dare I go down this road again? I don't know.
Right. 'Cause they haven't
But-
done it, yeah.
But I think they can take the ball at times and weather the storm? Sure. Now, does Portugal or Belgium or Germany do that for 60 minutes and then they call off the dogs and then we have a bit more of the game and now the game's, the score sort of evens itself out and we walk away from it going, oh, we had spells. Yeah, maybe. But I think it'll be all over. If I had to say in those 4 games, I think we can play well and beat Belgium. I think we can play well and beat Senegal. And then depending on who Portugal is on the day and who Germany is on the day, I think we're going to have moments where we suffer, which is okay, by the way. That's not a problem. So that would be my take. But again, there's going to be so many sort of narratives and subplots within these games because of what you said.
What I love about this, though, and a shout out as always to Tom King, who helps bring these things together at U.S. Soccer. All of these games are basically round of 32, round of 16 quarterfinal games. right? So like if and when we get out of the group, this is exactly what we're going to see. We're going to see a Belgium or a Senegal, or we're going to see these teams. And if you get past 32, you're going to see another one of them. And so we're going to know. We're going to find out a lot.
For sure.
Can I ask a follow-up question?
Always.
So I guess my thought, Landon, when you said your answer first is, why are we assuming that these 4 countries aren't having their own roster battles where people are trying to make their way onto the World Cup roster and could potentially be, because like I hear what you're saying about like, you know, if they're not going to bring certain people with them, then maybe the game is going to be what it is. But like there may, especially for countries who have deep rosters, I feel like there's even more competition to try to actually make it onto the squad. And this is going to be those guys' last opportunity to make a showing too, right?
Here's why we didn't go through qualifying. These teams have had the same. We didn't go through AFCON, African Nations Cup, that Senegal just went through. These teams have played the majority of their same players for the last few years. They didn't have a coaching change. Correct me if I'm wrong. Any of these teams have a coaching change in the last few years? So that urgency and didn't go through like the roller coaster ride our team has gone through, where we were really bad last summer. And so now like everyone's a little bit on eggshells, which I think is good. So there's all these dynamics going in, plus we're at home, plus it's a home World Cup. There's just more that goes into the psyche for our team than these teams.
Let me also jump on the back of that. And this is, nobody listening to this podcast will hear this. These teams, I mean, barring like Thomas Muller or whomever, these teams don't have any players playing in MLS, right? So all of these teams are traveling. All of them are traveling.
Yeah.
So if you look at Senegal as an example, well, probably not the best example, but Portugal. I mean, we do know, by the way, to Landon's point, we could probably name, 9, 10 of their starters? Because they're like household names. So are all of those players traveling across the ocean to come play here? Because I would guarantee, I don't know their schedule, and someone can give it to me, and I'll hold my hand up if I'm wrong. I can guarantee that on the run-in to the World Cup, 4 or 5 games, the U.S., playing the U.S. men is probably not their hardest game. Blasphemous, disrespectful. I'm just saying I've lived that as a player. I've lived that.
Yep.
So are we going to see Portugal's best team? Are we going to see Belgium's best team? We'll see.
And if you do see their best team, are they motivated? Like, are they really worried about dying for a result that day the way we are? No. The answer is no. So,
okay, this question is from Ben via email. Greetings from Ireland. A lot of
greetings, Ben.
Other side of the pond questions coming in this week. Ben says, I love the podcast. It's a great insight into how rapid the sport is growing in a country where it wasn't traditionally one of the top 3 sports. I'm curious for you both, but especially for Tim with his time in the Premier League, who is the best Irish player you have ever played with or against during your careers? We had a legendary keeper in Shay Given. I imagine he's someone you would have a lot of respect for, being in the goalkeepers union. Who else comes to mind?
Who's our Irish friend? What's his name?
Ben.
Ben. I am not a card-carrying member of the
Such a lie.
That's the biggest myth in the world.
Lies.
Goalkeepers stick together. We can't wait for the other guy's downfall. Yeah, the answer is easy. It's like when Bill Belichick gets asked who's the best player he's ever coached, and he scoffs at it because it's Lawrence Taylor. It's, for me, it's Roy Keane. He's the greatest Irish player in history. I played with some good Irish players, James McCarthy, Aidan McGeady, who had just magical feet, but like the best of the best is Roy Keane, hands down.
I'm very disappointed you didn't say Seamus Coleman.
Shamey.
God, I love that guy.
Yeah. Seamus is certainly
he's up there, isn't he?
Top 2. I mean,
he's going to be president of the country one day.
He should be. We're talking about one of the greatest human beings in the world.
He is amazing.
Seamus Coleman. Yeah,
for me, real easy, Robbie Keane. Not even close.
Yeah.
Not even close.
Amazing. Yeah, you got some of the best of Robbie.
Yeah. Shall we do a new rule?
Oh,
yes,
new
ma'am.
rule time. Yeah.
Okay,
Oh,
so
I always forget about the new rules.
I don't.
Me neither. Because at this point, I think we're getting more of them than actual questions. So,
Well, at some point, like the new rules already are ridiculous, and then they've all been used, so it gets even more ridiculous.
I think there was
which
a
is
rule-
that is a great tee up to this week's question,
Oh, boy.
Landon. This one
Okay.
is from Leonard via email. Instead of a new rule, how about bringing back an old rule? In 1863, the Football Association's first laws of the game allowed field players to catch the ball. You could not run with it or throw the ball, but a player could make what they called a, quote, fair catch, and then he could take a free kick from that spot. Wild, right? What
No
do you
way.
think about bringing that back?
That means the ball would have to be in the, like you can't pick it up if it's
Right,
rolling on
right.
the ground.
No, it'd have to be
That's
in
why
the
they
air.
call it a fair catch in football, huh? In the NFL? I
Why?
bet that's where that came from. Because he said it would be, is he saying they used to call it a fair catch?
We put it in quotes, so I'm assuming
Or
he
was
pulled
he
it straight from the rule.
referencing, was he referencing the NFL?
I don't know. Maybe.
So you-
Leonard,
so-
email us
Interesting.
back and let us know.
Hang on,
Or
so
put it in
Lan-
the
if I'm-
comments.
If I'm on the opposite team of Landon and he kicks it in the air, I run and snatch it out of the air. I have to put it down and I get the free kick?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Oh, happy days. That's wild. I think there is a sport. It's Australian rules football is what that's called.
Something like that.
Something-
These all have like this, they have similar elements, huh? All these rugby and football and like Gaelic foot, they all have similar elements.
Yeah, it's a strange one. It's a tough sell. It's a tough sell.
What are the
You're
what are the
not having it.
ramifications of that?
Well,
don't know.
People
there'd be less
fucking
long
tackling
balls.
you?
There'd be less long balls.
Totally.
Because you don't
Just keep
want
it
to
on the floor.
risk a long ball. Yeah, everything would be on the ground.
Keep it on the floor.
Maybe this is what they'll invent to reduce heading with kids.
God, stop it. We're so American.
Since I don't know.
You know what's really funny though? I was watching the game the other day and I was trying to explain to my friend, she'd never watched soccer before. I was trying to explain offside, and offside is so easy. And then you try and break it down and you're going,
Oh, it's brutal.
oh,
You try to
okay, hang
explain
on.
it, it's
I'm
brutal.
like, okay, so you see the white shirt there, the sleeve. Oh.
Yeah. And then they're like, well, what about
the
this?
arm-
And you're like,
yeah, and I'm like-
I don't know how to explain that.
And then you start to realize, like, all right, it's a complicated rule.
Very complicated.
Offside is one of those things that you either understand it or you don't understand it. And there's
Correct.
no eventually you become part of the other side, but
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. So
right.
sorry. Yeah, we're not doing that rule, but I like the creativity,
Yeah.
the
Leonard,
ingenuity.
Do we
I
have a-
will say that if you would like to send us, not every week, but if you would like to send us future old rules for us to consider, I do.
That would be
that's
really fun. You could
Yeah.
do a new rule and an old
Landon,
rule.
question
Yes, sir.
for you since you're covering the World Cup. Have you gotten the FIFA mandate yet on refereeing on what they're going to crack down on?
No, that's always an interesting one.
I figured you'd get it 1st
We'll talk about that actually as we get closer, because inevitably what happens, and I'm going to say the same thing again in 3
Totally.
months,
Totally.
the referees go overboard the first few games with
Stupid.
whatever it is. Do you remember in was it Qatar that it was like
Stoppage time was like
time?
20 minutes.
They're
Yeah.
like, we want to get, and it was my first game. I swear to God, at the end of a half, it was 14 minutes.
Yeah. Oh, I
And
know.
Ian and I are like, dude, are we ever going to go to sleep?
Yeah.
This is
crazy.
crazy.
It's crazy.
Yeah, that's
But they
right.
do. They'll crack down on they
Something
have
will.
3 rules like a.
You know what we
points of
should do?
emphasis.
We should next week or something like predict what we think it'll be
I-
based on
That's-
just the
that's
way
a good-
soccer's going in the world.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, how about fans send in what they predict will be the 3 points of emphasis?
Yeah. In the World Cup.
I wanna
Okay,
see, I'd be
we're
curious.
asking the ultras what they think the 3 things that referees
3
are going
points
to
of
be.
emphasis that will be
cracking down on.
based on like what's going on in the soccer world right now.
Bro, it's
In
so
games.
and the reason I say that is it's so dumb. One for 2 reasons. You said it, right? So you said they go so hard on it. Like the first, if it's shirt pulling, they call everything, right? And then in the Premier League this year, which is, you'll laugh at this. So there was a rule. I don't know if you guys remember. At the beginning of the year, the goalkeeper could only hold the ball for a
Yes.
certain amount of seconds, and the referee was supposed to back up like a basketball referee. And when they got to like 4, they were supposed to like give like a hand signal. We ain't seen that. We ain't
Never
seen that in
happened.
like 6 months, bro. We saw it
That's
like the
right.
first week.
Right.
And I think you get a corner.
You could actually predict, like, because you sit in the meetings before the World Cup, and a head referee will come in and explain it all to you, like what the points of it, and you can actually take advantage of it. So if they say like no holding in the box, the first time you're attacking on a corner, you just fall down, and like they're looking now with VAR, it's a little different, but like you would just try to take advantage of it.
Totally.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Okay, well, if you would like to send in your 3 guesses, you can do so to feedback@unfilteredsoccer.com. Also,
That'd be
your
pretty
new
cool.
old rules as well.
That'd be cool if someone actually gets all 3. like predicts right now what all 3 points. It's
They
usually
get a
3,
Landon
right? Tim?
Donovan signed jersey, don't they? Isn't that the
Tattoo of a banjo on my signature.
You holding the banjo.
Amazing. All right.
days.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, JR.
Jordan.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
All right. These shows seem to fly lately, man. Maybe we're getting good at this.
Good.
I don't know. Thanks, guys. Have a wonderful President's Day. I didn't even know it was President's Day. I just knew my kids are home. Remember to subscribe on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, anywhere you get your pods. Follow all of our social media at Unfiltered Soccer for bonus content. Thank you, as always, to VW, our Fan Connection sponsor, AT&T, and our Stoppage Time sponsor, FanDuel.
Yeah, thanks also to our Unfiltered Refresh sponsor, Coors Light, and our additional sponsor, Airbnb. Have an amazing week. We'll be back next Tuesday with another edition of Unfiltered Soccer.